And we're doing a second short cosmology segment video today, folks. Got a couple of spaced out things to talk about. Let's first talk about our spaced out forum. It's smashomash.com/forum. We even have a cosmology section there. And if you're not familiar with our mission, well, let me just read it to you real quick. It's to assist, study, and report on the ongoing formation of a unified theory of physics, to raise the awareness of the general public of the relationship between space, weather, and Earth effects. Hint, all your weather comes from space. Also to connect and consult with media organizations to multiply our reach, hence these videos, to demonstrate cutting-edge proof-of-concept solutions to problems, to publish scientific papers in a multidisciplinary manner, including but not limited to those sciences, to assist mankind by advancing the study of predictive phenomenon, as we can adapt no matter what the adversity is, folks. Your ancestors survived the last catastrophe cycle, so can you. And last but not least, to not be ossified in our beliefs and to treat those who are with love, respect, and inclusion to the scientific discussion. As if you're ossified in your beliefs, you're not doing science, you're doing dogma. Let's get to cosmology stuff. If you're wondering where the planets are located in the solar system, I like to use theplanetstoday.com. There's where they are now. And there's where they'll be in a week as Venus and Mercury are making their way around to this lonely side of the sun. Now, I always like to know what's going on above my head. How about you? This is why I use in-the-sky.org. It's 4:42 when we made this video. Do you know where your constellations are? If you've got a low horizon, perhaps get an image of Mars as it rises. In-the-sky.org. Let's talk about the NSF's new solar telescope, taking photos of the sun from Earth in unprecedented resolution. Here's an article about it. This one is on phys.org. The most detailed images of the sun, as this thing is a 4-meter telescope, and getting images of objects as small as Manhattan. That's about what the resolution is, about 18 miles. So, interesting article there from phys.org. Let's talk about transients real quick. I'm going to show you a couple of transients here from the Neil Gorell Swift Observatory. Now, that's the Swift BAT. That's the Burst Alert Telescope. And there are telescopes all around the world that are constantly monitoring various X-ray sources. As we want to see when things go into a burst mode, let's first look at Sagittarius A star, the core of the Milky Way galaxy, the massive radio source at the center of the galaxy, around which a bunch of massive supergiant blue stars appear to be orbiting. There are the recent transients from that. Nothing particularly exciting. Although I would notice that over the past few years, Sagittarius A has increased a little bit. Just a little uptick over the past couple of years. Let's look at another object, the Geminga pulsar. And there are the transients from Geminga. We saw around January 15th, we saw a significant burst of transients there. If you want to monitor it, we left links to the Neil Gorell Swift Observatory. Here are the transients from the Crab pulsar, and this is the strongest consistent X-ray source in the sky. Some heavy transients from that also, and Crab is kind of out in the same place as Geminga. Next, we'll look at 3C405, which is the opposite side of the Milky Way galaxy. This is massive radio galaxy Cygnus A, the one we're going to make a t-shirt about, and probably in February. We got a little sidetracked in January, folks. Now, this is the strongest radio source in the sky. It is also an X-ray source. There are the transients from Cygnus A, massive radio galaxy. And let's look at one other object in the constellation Cygnus, the star Deneb, otherwise known as Cygnus X3, the massive object that is orbiting this Wolf-Rayet star at a periodicity of, wait for it, 4.8 hours. Now you can see it's in a very quiescent state right now. You see the zero line here. See the zero line over here. It's at about as low of a level of activity as you ever see. And so we are waiting for Cygnus X3 to turn back on. and hoping it doesn't do anything disastrous, as there is clearly a cone of protons extending from Cygnus X3 indeed to your brain, your backyard, and deep, deep into the Earth. Thanks, SMASH team, for tuning in. Stay tuned for some bonus features. Not the least of which is this diagram of massive radio galaxy Cygnus A, as we are looking across the torus, which is why the jets are so perpendicular to this object. Massive radio galaxy Cygnus A, believed to be 500 to 600 million light years away, is still a stronger radio source than anything known within the Milky Way galaxy, except for the Sun. So it's the second strongest radio source from the Earth. Did you see our cosmology segment, where we talked about toroidal fields, toroidal motion, and poloidal fields and poloidal motion? As shown here in this diagram, the toroid would be the orange donut-shaped figure, toroidal motion would be the blue arrow, and poloidal motion would be the red arrow. And understanding the difference is super important. There's the thumbnail for our cosmology segment on toroidal versus poloidal fields and motion. Perhaps have a watch. It hasn't even gotten 100 views yet, folks. And if you enjoy the content, please press like and subscribe on YouTube, as we have been stalled at 1.45 or so thousand subscribers for the better part of a year. So please share on your social media, and please consider becoming a patron, the real source of funding for the videos. So thanks to our patrons, whether you're an assistant producer or an associate producer, we do appreciate your support. Finally, we're going to look at sunspot 2757. You can see some penumbra. Really only one main umbra there associated with that. No umbra in the leading fields. We do see a little magnetic mixing, and there is some possibility of X-rays coming out of that throughout the day. This area down here is not a sunspot, although there are some active regions in the north. Again, there's sunspot 2757. And there's the view in the colorized magnetogram. Let me just refresh that real quick. There's the latest image. And it's looking like it's weakening to me a little bit. But again, we do see a little bit of magnetic field mixing here. You see that green area in the front. So there is still some possibility of some minor X-ray flaring. Finally, let's look at a 48-hour video. And since we haven't checked out 94 angstroms for a few days here, let's do that and call it a day. Thanks again for tuning in, folks, to the cosmology segment. Please check our other videos. Check out smAsho.org. Check out our other social media sites. Consider becoming a patron. Stare at the sun. Don't drink it. If you drink, don't drive. And we'll be coming at you later with more content.